Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of GNN. Today is February 29th, 2024, and we have another banner night on our hands here. But before we get into the details of our brand new mobile suit, let's go over some news. All right, folks, before we get into our banner suit, we have an awesome spring themed Code Fairy step up supply drop going on right now. It's a special supply drop which starts with a half off special and also includes the level 2 Zanny, which is only usable on ground. But if for those of you that are not aware, this suit is a sort of kit bash in UC terms, well, if it was real life, between salvage parts of a Zaku 2 and the beginnings of the mass production GM. Basically, in the process of the Federation trying to figure out how to make their own mobile suits during this time period, that's basically what it is. Hence why it looks so cobbled together. And then also, they were testing weaponry. So this actually has the big howitzer gun from the Gundam ground type. So really cool. Going into the other steps, step 2 gives you a chance to get either of these 3 suits, the original Code Fairy folks, so the Zaku half cannon, the high mobility ground type Zaku, and then the Zaku recon type with the sniper rifle. So they're pretty cool suits. I can vouch for them at their native costs, but they are getting bumped up to, I believe, 400, 450 respectively for some of those. There is a official list which we can actually go here, go into greater detail. Yes, 350 for the half cannon, 400 for the high mobility ground type, and the Zaku 2 sniper is at 350 for level 2. Step 3 also gives you a chance to get the 500 cost Spartan RG, as well as the Ifrit Jaeger at 500. And then the last step, if you didn't get it already, gives you a chance to get, well, allows you to get the Killy operator while you're playing in game. It's pretty cool. Also, you get a chance to get either the Pixie LA at 550 or the Titania. Both are raids, so I know people can vouch for them. They're pretty strong for the most part, and pretty cool too. Sadly, they only have a sample of the voice actress in Japanese. I've heard the one for English. It's pretty cool, but the only thing that we have is credited right there. But it's still pretty cool nonetheless. So this is a probably themed to springtime, as they mentioned here. I'm not fully familiar with all the Japanese holidays out there and everything, but this does have to deal with, I think, White Day, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments, regardless. But jumping into our main event, you guys might think this is familiar. It is. This actually had a first appearance in Green Divers 0087, and also in later the Gundam Evolve Episode 9. This is Amuro's specific Zeta Gundam. This is a 3A unit from that series, or those 2 different iterations of media, which is really cool because it is literally a general. It's a 3-star general, but I'm sorry I'm stuttering here because it's crazy to think that we're getting more of these here. It's feasible now because, well, they kind of have to do it, but this is essentially a General Zeta unit combined with an HML kit. Literally, in the sense of the word. If you saw the intro, beginning into our intro of the episode there, yeah, it literally is a general type with the Zeta, regular Zeta, the HML kit, and essentially the Zeta Zaku because of the bayonet, which we'll get into a little more detail, but that's basically what it is. 650 cost. The variant was operated under the Chakra Research Lab, affiliated with the AUG auxiliary team known as Karaba. Upgraded from the base model Zeta Gundam with enhanced mobility and responsiveness. While equipped with a basic armament that is not inadequate for mobile suit combat, it boasts a powerful ranged weapon, the Hyper Mega Launcher, hence the HML designation, and a high-level assault performance in its Wave Rider form. Due to the extreme high operability, it requires a high level of piloting skill and situational judgment on the part of the pilot, but the potential of the mobile suit is pulled out to the maximum and operated appropriately. It can be expected to achieve great results in any combat situation. This unit is operated by a pilot under the codename White Unicorn. It's also called the White Zeta due to its unique color scheme, and be deployed both ground and space. And in both medias, the Green Divers 0087 and, well, even Gundam Evolved, they actually fully emphasize it, but in 0087 Green Divers, it's implied that it's armor-mode. And then in Gundam Evolve, which I've seen, which is kind of funky, but, you know, hey, they wanted to try to do something artistically creative. It's the same voice actor, and it's heavily implied. So it's kind of interesting to see if Amuro actually had this during the later stages of the Grips War, which is what this is supposed to be, the timeline was. And then, you know, it's kind of weird to even fathom that. On top of that, if you're doing 10 pulls for this suit, you do get a chance to get his, or Amuro's, rather, sorry, his normal suit from the Londo Bell, his time with Londo Bell during Char's counterattack, so it's pretty cool. And then it also gets a level 2 aerial melee system. So if you're thinking this is familiar, you're right, because this is the same exact skill that the Angsha has. I know I'm butchering the hell out of it. I'm just waking up now, but yeah, the Angsha has this at level 1, but because this has level 2, it also has a attack boost on top of that. So this is gonna be one of those super crazy suits, I would say, even familiar to something like the S Gundam, which also has something similar in place, but doesn't have the attack boost on that, at least to my knowledge. But yeah, 10 pulls, normal suit, really cool stuff. But we do have I believe, a side banner as well for the Traversia, which I'm going to just summarize right here. It is now bumped up to 700. I believe that is, if I'm not mistaken, no, it's just no, there's no half off on here. So it's a chance to, if you didn't get it, you get a chance to get either the 650 or 700 version plus its weapons as well. Jumping into the premium login bonus for those that really want to know, because I know sometimes I skip this. It looks like for March we are getting Sananju, and then jumping through midway through the month leading into my birthday, we get the Hazelin Thay if you haven't had a chance, and then the Desert Rumble, Desert Zaku. So yeah, that's really neat. They will announce the ones for April in a bit. Changes to the DP exchange counter is as follows. I'm forgetting what I usually call it, so I was like, hold on. We get the Equus level 2 and level 1, as well as the Stark Jigen level 2. It's weird because they list it as the Stark Jigen and then the Jigen, but my dyslexia, or whatever the hell you want to call it, is listing them in different directions. Alright. And basically, that's it for the stores. It looks like the battle situation has been updated now. We are now focusing on the Black TriStar, which, let's get into that really quickly, because this is going to be a 1-year war base theme thing. So we have the Grandpa at 600, Gun Cannon, Gun Tank at 500, a Ground Type MSV, I'm assuming this is the Raid, at 300, and the Armored GM at 300. That's going to be interesting, because Armored GM hasn't had any love recently for a while. I don't even really see that too much, but we'll see. I guess they had to throw something together. This is going to be on Mountain, so we all know how Mountain's going to be. And then 3 DOMs, both at 550. It's going to be crazy because it's going to be super bolster up. Goof at 300. because you're not Rambo, and then the rabbit type Saku Cannon. So I think they're going with, this time around, they're going with more traditional comps, I guess. Just interesting, I guess you could say. Just because a lot of the previous situation battles, some of the suits, I guess, didn't really make, well, they made sense for the theme that they're going by, but in terms of the way that the game is played, or practicality as far as the whole trinity between raid, support, and generals, I don't think a lot of people still got that. So I think in this iteration it's a little more easier to kind of follow, but you know, we'll see, because Team White Base has 2 supports. Their front line only has Grandpa, or the Gundam, and the Armored GM. Not saying that they can't do it, it just, that's basically going to that theme of the, you know, White Base and, you know, the Federation. That's basically what they have in place of that. At the same time, you do have maybe even something remotely balanced for Zeon, although the rep type being at its native 250, that thing's gonna die really quickly. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. I'm curious to see how that, you know, how people react to that. Let me know in the comments for sure, because it's like, yeah, the DOMs are going to be upgraded because it's supposed to represent the Black TriStar, but the rest of the field units for their respective teams, I don't know. I would almost say just make them at like the highest cost they can to match with the other suits that they're running with. Like, I think the Goof stops at 400, the Rabbit type stops at 350. I think 400 as well. You might also just make it happen, and it might be pretty cool. But by doing so, you do get the DOM at level 1 plus some DP rewards. On the second following week of this situation battle, you do get Grandpa as well as some more DP. So pretty great. I know it's kind of I don't know, some people might think it's like an afterthought, but something different to do. Can't fault them for that. So on to the details of the new suit. Alright folks, here we are with the Zeta Gundam 3A type. Let's get into the stats of things, because jumping into its HP, pretty good bulk of 21k. Resistances all fairly within the 20s there. Ballistic and beam 21, 23 respectively. And a little more leeway with melee resistance, so does kind of do a little more legwork in setting this thing up. Attack power as follows: 30 and 35 for both range and melee. You have 130 walking speed with 220 at high speed movement. Very nice healthy thruster gauge of 80 and a turning speed of 69, which is nice. Just to kind of compare things, if you want to look at stats in general, comparatively to, say, the Zeta Gundam here, we are dealing with similar stats, although mine has a slight upgrade in the beam resistance category. So I failed to mention 21, 22 respectively, but the Zeta Gundam at 650 has some, you know, I would say some similarities as well, which, you know, is no surprise, but like it's one thing to kind of see similar specs as well. Now, of course, we do have 18, 20, 10s in the custom parts selection there. So once it does open up with the complex expansion slot, I believe at the last step, of course, it does kind of make things a lot more flexible for you. Jumping into the primary, it only has a unique beam rifle that you cannot switch out. 2100 base power, 6 shots, 400 meter effective range with an 18-second reload time and 5-second cooldown between shots. Pretty standard, nothing super crazy about it. It's a beam rifle, just aim and shoot, right? Going into the primary melee, we have also a unique beam saber. It does come in at 2400 with 2.5-second cooldown time between swings. Pretty neat. It does have the GBO2 downswing animation, so it can definitely get you into trouble, and also at the same time close the distance as well, so use sparingly. We do have the Zeta grenade launchers, arm wrist launchers, wrist rockets, whatever you want to call them. Base of 500, 4 shots. It does do them in 2 shot salvos with a 0.3 of a second cooldown time between shots and a 10-second reload time with a effective range of 300 meters. Great for build stun, pretty nice. You can drop a salvo, and then jumping into our sub weapon here, combine that with the very fast head Vulcans. These are, I feel, a little bit faster than the stock Zeta. Base power of 100, 60 rounds, effective range of 175 with a reload time of 13 seconds. Pretty nice. I still neglect to use my Vulcans as much as I should in combination with other nice stun build weapons. But nice to know that if I do actually remember to utilize everything that this suit has, it's there. So it's really cool. Jumping into the next category, the showstopper of the suit is the HML variant for this suit versus, say, the other Zeta HML. Base power 300, or 3000, excuse me. I'm missing a 0 there. 90% heat rate, an effective range of 500 meters. 6 seconds between shots, 25-second overheat time with a 4-second charge time. So not only does this charge, I would say, decently fast, it does irradiate, very similar to the Unit 4 BST and some other suits that you might be very familiar with. So potential of damage is pretty nice. In addition to the fact, if you do not charge and you just straight fire like you see in the description there, I don't think it pierces. I've tried to see that and I haven't made it able to work in practice. Maybe it's just a practice thing. But it does stun on impact, so it's pretty nice to kind of have as a means of, you know, chaining stuns, keeping that combo going, punishing somebody that's way out of position or playing overly aggressive, which is really nice. Jumping into the last part, it wouldn't be a Zeta without its bayonet. And of course, it has the bayonet. Base power 2600 with a 3.5 second cooldown time, which is noticeably unforgiving when you're comparing the primary melee there. But at the same time, you can combo off of this. So it's great for catching people and then kind of chaining all your attacks together, and or just going for that quick downswing, which the animation for this is the Zeta Zaku downswing with bayonet. So if you've been playing that a lot recently at 550, well, welcome home. I would say, based on what I've seen so far, this is going to be something that I think people are really going to be enjoying. This thing's got a lot of mid-range capability, a lot of tools to kind of help you go through that sort of decision-making flowchart that I keep talking about before you go into engagement. So if you're trying to decide if it's the right time to push in, go into melee, well, you have range options. And then at the same time, when it's time, well, it's time, and you have the tools for it. Going into the shopping list of skills, this is quite the list. You got a single roll, you got wing cushionings, which reduce incoming damage by 30% in that spot there. Anti-blast stabilizer, which is always a nice thing, especially if you're a suit that likes to melee a lot. This has flight control 3, so nice thing about that is it reduces thruster consumption by 50%, like you see in the description, during high-speed movement or action. So I thought I'd need more boosts. So far, even with stock, you don't really notice it unless you're doing a lot of dodging and, well, melee. But I do feel like force cooling and those cooling parts might actually play a bigger factor in this too. We'll see. We'll have to kind of test that out a little bit more later down the road. Obviously, balancers and ambok. This doesn't have any compatibility in space, but with ambok 2, it kind of helps out with that, I guess. So kind of weird, but it's not a big deal. MA1, which is always a welcome sight. It's crazy because Zeta for the longest time did not have MA at all, and I think it still doesn't. Let me check this really quick. I'm segueing just for a hot second. Nope, it still does not have MA at all. So, well, this is the better Zeta, basically. God dang. I know some people was complaining about it already, but man, that's nuts. Melee combo controller 1, so 2 swings. It has the aerial system that I talked about earlier. This actually gets boosted while you're doing any melee attacks during the skill is activated by 30%. That is big, especially if you're fighting against something that you're disadvantageous to, like a support. So just kind of give you an example, I think I was running a naked suit with sabers, and I think I got boosted up to 3k on a downswing. So it pretty much negates the whatever melee resistance a suit might have, plus the disadvantage type. So this is a big thing for this suit, a very big thing. Force Injector 2s, which is great. It does not mention anything as far as any values regarding thruster consumption, but if there's no penalty, I can't really be complaining. Shield Tackle also increases the damage while you're tackling, so that's great. So you want to have that shield up too, by the way. Of course, we have the transforming mode, and this also comes with biosensor. So for those of you guys that are not familiar with biosensor, granted, we have the description here. It's similar to a automatic exam almost, in the sense that once you drop down to about 30% of your health, it boosts your attack, defense, and mobility. It's kind of like a last-ditch chance to kick some butt. And I don't think it comes with a double roll. Correct me if I'm wrong. It is the level 1 base one there, so it's not going to be super crazy, but it is a leg up on a fight that you might be losing and you might just win. Never know. Jumping into the Wave Rider mode version, we get shock dampeners in the place of MA1, which basically it's the same mechanic. We at least get transformation optimizer at level 1, so that's pretty nice. Your movement speed actually gets bumped up to 200, so it's literally maxed out. I think the suit that gets to this speed is the Delta Kai. So that's pretty crazy. It does get ramp attack, and then when it's in Bio Booster, or Biosensor, I keep on calling Bio Booster. Sorry, I'm having Guyver thoughts here, okay? It's Guyver in Gundam form. Check. Anyways, it gets the ramming attacks boosted by 2,000, and it also reduces damage taken while it's active by 50%. So this is pretty huge for this suit. I don't know if it's gonna be unseating anything else in the 650 range, just because we do have a big variety of Zeta type suits. We also have the likes of, I want to say, the Granddaddy, the Pope Doga, as well as some of the other variety of suits that just makes things pretty complicated. It's pretty big powerhouses out here at 650. So, I don't know. I can say that based on this, it almost seems like it pretty much can hold its own, and it's definitely the ultimate Zeta to have. So if you're a big Zeta fan, yeah, it's pretty cool. Alright folks, that concludes tonight's recap, or rather, last night's recap of the new banner suit. Let me know what you guys think. Are you going to pull for this? Do you think this is worth that extra 10 pull, maybe? Honestly, I think it's pretty strong, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Helps out the channel immensely. Supporting us is what keeps this going and makes me, honestly, it makes me pretty happy to see you guys chat about this. But I'm very eager to take this out. I haven't had a chance to play it at all, just mostly been backlogged with stuff. Mainly because we know Gundam Breaker 4 is on the horizon. Anyways, hopefully we can make this in that game too. But that's it. Hopefully you guys have a fun time, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Take care.